And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday, June 6th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome. Monday morning, the sun is shining, and we're ready for a magnificent Monday, no doubt. Don Hamlet is back to talk about Absolute Kubota. Don, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It is nice to see you, of course, and we'll tell everybody, of course, Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon, with Kubota tractors, hay equipment, zero-turn mowers, and RTVs. And Don is here on alternate months to tell us all about it. And how you been since I've seen you last?
I've been great. We've
Good.
been busy. We are getting equipment in. I know we get from time to time people want to know if we got equipment or whatnot. A young man was bragging on us at church yesterday. When I saw, he said, "Looks like y'all got a lot of equipment." I said, "We do. Come on in, get you some. We'll get you fixed up." They still got the 0% finance going. We don't have all the equipment that we would like to have, but I don't think any car lot or any other tractor location or any restaurant or anybody has everything they want right now. It's regrettably become the new norm, but we're working hard there. We have some things in place that help us figure out what's coming in, and we can put those pieces of equipment with a customer whenever they come in, and we know about when it's coming. And we still get everybody fixed up as much as we can.
Still got everything from weed eaters to hay balers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll get you fixed up. Service department, I think maybe they've seen a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I preached all winter, trying to get people to go ahead and bring their equipment in early before you actually needed it, of course. And, they had a little wave of, just flow of equipment coming in, just getting basic services, and I think they've got a little bit of a relief back there now. So you can call Clint back there, and something new they've started doing this year, instead of just bringing your equipment in for an oil change and your blade sharpened and just leaving it, you can kind of call in and say, "I have this piece of equipment, this is what I'd like to have done," and he'll kind of set you up a week or two out with a window. So that way you're not without your equipment but a couple of days. So if you need to mow your yard on the weekend, you get it mowed and drop your mower off on Tuesday. Maybe by Friday you can pick it back up instead of being without it for several days. Parts, no problem with parts at all. All your belts and blades and oil and filters and all that stuff, we should have everything you need right there in stock all the time. You can see TR and Sergio, those two guys, they'll get you fixed up over there. Just really no problem.
Well, that's good to know. And of course, service is very important. And maybe getting something fixed when it breaks down is even more important. But if you do the service on it, those breakdowns probably happen less.
That's true. If you take care of your equipment, keep an eye on it, sometimes, you're required through your own stuff to keep some aged equipment and that stuff. Anything's just going to break down from time to time. All the different pieces that we have there ready to go. I know it's getting to be hay season. I'm sure TR was talking about hay season last week. He's the guy that we try to point everybody in the direction of. He's cut hay and rolled hay his whole life. So, those are the guys we try to get you turned to. And of course, we have 0% financing on all those pieces of equipment. Typically around here, Memorial Day is when everybody gets started. That was weekend before last. So, there's going to be people out using things and tearing things up. And, it's just nature of the beast and running over a rock or something.
Still selling a number of Kubota tractors.
Oh, yeah. The Kubota tractors, as far as I know, below 40 horsepower is still the #1 selling tractor in the U.S. You get, as a salesperson, you get excited about selling a 100 horsepower tractor, but just very few people in this general area really need a 100 horsepower tractor. Yeah. But, anybody with 5, 10, 15, 20 acres, can certainly use a tractor. I've jokingly told you before, if you've got a tractor with a loader, you'll never need a wheelbarrow ever again.
You're never going to forget that.
I'm telling you, because if you've ever used a wheelbarrow, you know how unfun that is. You know, it's great to not need one. You know?
I've used one. I know what you're talking
They're
about.
not fun.
Well, we don't usually let you or TR go without mentioning the RTVs, recreational terrain vehicles, which are such a versatile piece of equipment. It can be totally for fun, it can be totally for work, or anything in between.
Absolutely, and we're getting those in. I think the other day I looked at our list, and we have 11 of those coming in over the next few weeks. So come in. We'll be glad to get your name attached to one of those. When that unit gets to our shop, we'll get it. We'll run it through the service department and get it, pre-delivery inspected, fill it full of fuel, and give you a call, and you could have it on your place having fun.
They need to be serviced and taken care of, too, to some extent. I don't have no idea how much, but you do take care of that, don't you?
Everything.
Yeah.
Weed eaters to hay balers. We're service it and repair it.
All right. Well, Don, hope it's a great week for you, and we'll see you back here next Monday and do it again.
All right. Thank you.
Don Hamlet, Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. Everything from weed eaters to hay balers. And you give them a call at 615-449-6171. 10 after the hour, Sheriff Robert Bryan is here this morning, my guest for part one. And Sheriff, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman. How are we?
I'm doing well, and it is nice to see you today. And it's been a month, about a month since you were here. Anything in particular that's happened that you might want to talk about as we start this morning?
Well, it's there's a lot going on. We got a lot going on at the sheriff's office. It's a busy time of year for us, and summertime always brings excuse me, a lot more calls for service and different things like that. So there's a lot going on.
Well, one of the things I guess people are going to expect us to talk about this morning, all the shootings that have been going on, and there are people who are proposing gun legislation, and I'm wondering really how you personally feel about that. Being a law enforcement officer, I mean, all your people, just about all of them, carry weapons with them, and they should. There are a lot of people who cling to the Second Amendment and say we have a right to bear arms, which it says. But as a law enforcement officer, where do you come in? I mean, you fortunately we haven't had a situation here like we've heard about so many of them in the last 2 or 3 weeks here in other places, and that place down there in Texas with those school children. That's just a terrible thing. And I know you would hate to have to face something like that. But talk about this, if you will.
Excuse me. Well, it's a sad situation what went on down there in Texas, and we thoughts and prayers goes out to everybody down there. It's and you asked about guns, and you're right. The Second Amendment says everybody should have a gun. Everybody's got the right to bear arms, and what I see out of it is until that they break everything down in Texas and figure out what happened, how it happened, who was involved, and different things like that. We don't need to make no knee-jerk reactions as it relates to. We got to get the whole story. Is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. From what I'm seeing so far, is it's possibly that could be a mental health issue down there, and mental health issues across this country right now are rampant. And I think that's something we need to focus on right now, because there's no outlet for mental health patients, is what I'm trying to say. And we need to get the guns out of the criminals' hands, and that's my number one focus. And that's what everybody's focus is get the guns out of the criminals' hands and hold them responsible for it.
These people have mental health issues. So many times you find that out after the fact. There might have been some signs that weren't detected, or even if they were overlooked. But do you think we should direct more of our attention towards those people and try to be prepared ahead of time? Maybe if somebody's not in their they got a problem. They don't need a gun for going to go out here and start shooting people.
That's right, and yes, I think that should be a focus as it relates to mental health issues. We need to identify them first, and I think a lot of times, the mental health issues don't get flagged by the family, or they don't want to get us involved or anybody else involved. And I think it's probably what you're going to see in Texas. I don't know.
What about training? And you may be doing a lot of this. I don't know, but I'm wondering if law enforcement itself has some means of educating, letting your people, your deputies, the law enforcement people have a better idea and a better understanding of what it's all about, how to deal with it?
Yes, I mean, that's part of our required training each year now. And that started about 3 or 4 years ago, where it's required each year that we have mental health professionals come in and teach us, how to handle certain situations, how to handle certain people with different types of mental health illnesses. And I can say that it's helped because we interact with people in the public all the time, and we see a lot of it, and not only out on the streets and the roads, but in the jail.
Well, this is something that would manifest itself at times, perhaps in school, and I think especially maybe in high school. School resource officers might be alert, on guard for some of this to at least see signs of it.
And that's the importance of the school resource officer. Okay, interaction with the kids and all the kids in the school, knowing all the kids, knowing their behaviors, knowing what's going on at home. And we've seen where our school resource officers has really stepped in on certain cases where some people was having some bad times, and and after that Texas incident, I got called from all over the state because we're one of the only counties just about that has SROs in every school, and they're going, Sheriff, how did y'all get that done? Well, the way we got it done is we saw the need for it back several years ago, and it come from another school shooting, and the county commission and the sheriff's office and us worked together where we made that happen, and it really is important to have them school resource officers in all schools, because that was an elementary school in Texas, and when we first done that, I got questioned, why are we putting deputies in elementary schools? Well, this is why we put deputies in elementary schools. So it's great that we're in a good place. We're in a good place in Wilson County, that we're not having to get SROs from for every school. We've already done it, and people are looking to us for guidance. So,
Sheriff Robert Bryan's my guest. It's time for us to take a break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $49.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, safety check too. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They just now cleared up that crash in the Franklin area. So 65 northbound at Moore's Lane. It's flowing a lot better up through there now. Still just a little bit heavy as you come up through that section of Franklin on 65 north, passing Highway 96. Some radar earlier on I-40 out through Kingston Springs. Give yourself extra time out through Dixon County. Some radar out through there as well. Hey, Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Log on today, GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota subcompact and compact tractors. Our reliable #1 selling tractors are designed for easy operation and feature all the performance-matched attachments needed to tackle any job. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months plus save up to $1,200 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/offers for full disclaimer.
Visit Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main Street in Lebanon.
Thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Sheriff Robert Bryan for paying his usual monthly visit. And we got you back at the top of the hour today. legislative session ended.
That's right. I was waiting on you this morning.
You were. And I got here earlier than
You did. You did. I was proud of you.
I want to bring up something else, and there's apparently going to be some changes made regarding the sheriff's office and 911, and you're going to tell us about that this morning.
Yeah, and as everybody knows, we're in a construction phase where we're adding on to the jail, and in that construction, there's actually a dispatch center attached to that that's being constructed at the same time. And when we started designing the jail and different things, we've outgrown our dispatch area. It's a closet, and we have 3 or 4 dispatchers in there at a time, and they're sitting in corners, and it's just not a secure, safe place to dispatch because the number of calls that come through that office on a daily basis is just crazy. But also another thing that was bothering us is, the tornadoes that come through. If a tornado would have come through there and knocked off, or just say it would have knocked out WEMA or knocked out us or knocked out another agency's dispatch area, because we didn't have the building that capable of withstanding it, we would have been out without communication. So in the planning, we was able to in the construction part is add a dispatch center where there's plenty of room in there for expansion and as we grow. So I think it was 2 months ago, I went before the 911 board, and there's always been talk about co-locating, getting everybody in the same room. We tried it a few years ago and it just didn't pan out. But now we've got the room and the capability of doing it. So I went before the 911 board and presented to them that that was an option for them to move 911 operations, just the 911 into the new facility. And I also worked with the mayor and Director Cooper to get all ambulance and fire their dispatch area also moved into that same area. So when all's said and done, we will have all 911 operations, WEMA and the sheriff's office in the same room, dispatching the same calls, and there just won't be that transfer no more. It'll be and the positive thing about it, it's going to be if you're in the same room just like us sitting here today, if I've got a call on the line and I need an ambulance, they're sitting right there. We can relay it right then. They can pick up on the phone. We're not having to transfer across town to get it done. So, and the way as of right now, Mountain Jet Fire is already in the 911 facility down on West Main. That was a recent move they did not too long ago, and they would be moving. They'll be following 911 into our new building.
So somebody dials 911. Who's going to answer first?
Right now?
Yeah.
Or in the new facility?
When it's new.
When it's new, that when somebody calls 911, it will go to a 911 operator, and sitting right beside her or him is a sheriff's dispatcher, a WEMA, and a fire dispatcher.
Okay.
So they could all pick up at the same time. It depends on what type of call it is, but it's not 911, what's your emergency and what's your location, and then they had to transfer it across town. That's no longer as far as it relates to all countywide type emergency calls.
Now, and that will take place when you get your building finished?
And the good thing about, and the reason why I'd done it at the time, I went before the board to ask them to get their okay. It's the right time to do it, not only because it improves our services, but right now in the construction phase, they're running wires and cables and different things for our dispatchers. Right now is the time to be running their wires too.
Right.
So, now that we're set in stone that we're going to do this, I mean, 911's technicians, WEMA's technicians, and everybody's working in there to get the proper wires and connections and fiber wires and everything. It's above me, but yes, good timing.
What it's going to be like for those who are not part of this?
it will continue to be like it is, and there'll continue to be a transfer. But that the original 911 call will come straight into the sheriff's office.
Okay. So, well, I've got more questions, but maybe I'll save them for later. But this definitely involves you and WEMA.
Us, WEMA, 911, Mount Juliet Fire, who's already in the 911 office on West Main, and we've reached out to Mount Juliet about their services in Lebanon also. So we'll see where it goes, but it's a good start. It's a start to getting everybody in the same building, but we're moving that direction.
Okay. Summertime is on us. We haven't officially reached June 21st, but when June gets here, it's usually summertime, and school is out. I wonder, as far as patrolling goes, does it make some changes? You don't have the school buses, but you have other things to claim your attention. No doubt.
We do, and talking about schools, and this summer, everybody thinks when school lets out, there's no school. But there's a lot of summer activities at school, such as summer school, and they've started a couple of things as relates to, I don't know what it is, but there is people in these schools, and we're having to put some SROs in these schools where they're having these activities, and we'll do that to keep them covered. Summertime, there's more people out and about. We'll step up at all aspects of out on the roadway, DUI enforcement, waterway enforcement, and things like that. We have been out on the water here the past couple of weekends, and we found the waterways are getting crowded, and but it's we encourage people to stay safe out there.
I take it you take the water traffic pretty seriously, just like you do automobiles and trucks and all of this. That there's a certain way you're supposed to conduct yourself when you got that boat, and you're looking for people that's inebriated there, just like you are out on the highway.
Yeah, us and TWRA are out there, and yes, I mean you've got to have a presence out there, or it just be, there's people out there that really don't know how to handle a boat, and so it's the just being visible and being out there present.
For you, is it mainly Old Hickory Lake?
Pretty much, yeah. And there's a little bit of Percy Priest, but TWRA handles most of that one. Yeah. So,
well, let's talk about your jail. You mentioned the area of it, but how much more hammering, nailing has got to take place? How long before you're going to be finished?
Not quick enough. It's they're ahead of schedule, and. As you drive by there, you look and you see the exterior walls are up, and it's the part where everything slows down because they're running wires and hooking this to that, and everything slows down. But we're looking maybe sometime middle of next year getting into actual jail operations there. But they are ahead of schedule. Now we'll get that dispatch center and a couple of more phases of it earlier, maybe towards the end of this year. So, but it's moving right along, and it can't happen fast enough because we do have a full jail right now existing. We're full.
Are you really overcrowded at this point, or just full?
Well, full is overcrowded. Yeah, when you're full, and you've got to have some room to maneuver, and we don't have that.
Are you hiring?
Yes. I don't know if you've seen. We was actually 20 people down in corrections last month, and we're paying a lot of overtime because of that, and we got the word out there that we're hiring for corrections, and I've been trying to publicize it the best I can, and the county commissioner, we're talking about, I said all along we need to pay these people what they deserve, and in this year's budget there is a pay study and there's a pay increase that's coming to these employees all across the county, and that's going to help me recruit because I've got to be able to recruit and I've got to be able to retain them.
Well, how important is that beginning wage to hire some new people?
It's very important, especially when you're competing with the Amazons and the UP, whatever, all these other industries that's coming in here. It's very difficult, and it's you got to give them some kind of incentive to work there, and or they can go down there and a lot stressful and work somewhere else. So you've got to take care of them.
Well, you'd be glad to accept some new applications even today.
And when we started publicizing it, we started getting some applications, but we're hiring for existing positions, but we will be hiring for new positions in relation to this new facility. So.
Well, by the way, in our last minute here, I got to remind you, you probably were listening last Thursday, your cousin, Robert Bryan, known as Tick.
No, that his name is Tick, Brian.
Well, I think it's a little bit ironic, a little bit funny sometimes when the two of you do get a little bit mixed up. But I'll say this: you're not much alike.
Well, you think, but no, I get calls for him all the time, or somebody calls complaining. I hope they call Tick instead of me.
Robert Bryan, Sheriff Robert Bryan, thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
That's part one of Coleman and Company. Hope you'll keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And at 7:29, let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Absolute Kubota, fully staffed service center and parts department. Most of their minor services can be done the same day, servicing Exmark, Kubota, Land Pride, Red Max, and Billy Goat. 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. A little bit sluggish sometimes here on 65 southbound, trying to get past Trinity Lane. That's what we're looking at live right now. It does look better down in Franklin on 65 as you come up past Cool Springs from that earlier crash. It's picked up over in Mount Juliet with that traffic here the last few minutes. Now they're talking about a wreck there at Clarksville Pike at OHB. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken now available for catering. Check them out at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Contact Stephen Lowry Land Clearing for all your land clearing needs. Whether it's clearing trails for ATVs, reclaiming pasture, or clearing your land of brush and trees, Stephen Lowry can get the job done. He works closely with customers, adjusting to make changes as you want. Stephen Lowry will give you quality work at a price that you can afford. He will also beat any written estimate. Call Stephen Lowry at 615-970-8154 for all your land clearing needs. That's Stephen Lowry Land Clearing, 615-970-8154.
We're keeping an eye out for rain for the start of your work week. High temperature of 83 for today with scattered thunderstorms possible. That unsettled pattern is sticking around with muggy air and chances for rain this week. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number 1 Ned.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part 2. It is a Monday morning. Monday mornings at this time, I get my second cup of coffee from Billy Mullinax, who comes in to talk about Rocky Williams' premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Mount Juliet. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see you.
It's always good to be here.
And how was your weekend?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. They're all good, Coleman.
Yeah, I know, and that's what we say all the time.
Yep, they're all good.
But some are better than others.
Some may be just a little bit better than others, but they're all good.
Well, I know you hadn't been keeping up, probably hadn't been keeping up with the baseball as much as I have, but Georgia Tech held Tennessee to 4-3 till the 8th inning last night, and then I don't know how many runs they got, and they won it. They're headed on. Vanderbilt did manage to win their game, but they got to play the same team again today and beat them again to advance. So
okay,
that's where we are.
Well, you got me caught
baseball.
up.
Yeah, you're caught up.
You got me caught up.
We need to talk about all you're doing there at 600 Pleasant Grove Road in Mount Juliet.
Well,
I'm supposed to say this, no haggle pricing. Everybody pays the same great low price.
yep, we price our cars and not our customers, Coleman. And that's the easiest way to say it, because regardless of who you are, if it's my best friend, if it's my brother, if it's Rocky Williams, everybody's going to pay the same great low price.
Well, you have your entire inventory of those new and pre-owned cars at RockyWilliams.com.
I'd even see your neighbor there, Coleman.
Yes, sir. You know, there's got to be people out there every week just waiting to. I'm wondering if we're going to get that in today. I wonder if he'll forget today. So far, we've managed to not miss it. We've come close at times.
We have a couple of times, but yeah, it's we can't miss that.
RockyWilliams.com. Well, what else you need to tell us today?
Well, Coleman, just you know, when people, and most people shop online this day and time, I would say probably 90% of the people that walk in our showroom have shopped online and have looked at our inventory and also looked at other people's inventory. There's so many dealerships and auto dealers this day and time that their online pricing is not a true representation of the price that you're actually going to pay. A lot of them have rebates that you don't qualify for, or probably are not going to qualify for. There are some strings attached to those rebates. It may be that your credit score has to be at a certain level, or you may have to finance with a certain bank, or you may have to be a member of the military. There are some military rebates, and you know, and then when you get there, they're going to say, "Oh, well, you didn't read this little fine print down here that says not all rebates apply to everybody." That's such a deceptive way to do your pricing to get people in the door, and we don't do that. We include only rebates that everybody in the Southeast Business Center gets, and if you are eligible for some of those other rebates, we look for them, because if we don't give them to you, nobody don't get them.
Right.
And the factory keeps them. They're factory rebates, and so we want to try to spend all of their money that we can. So if you're eligible for them, we'll try our very best to make sure that you get that money, but we're not going to include that in our pricing on our website.
And you don't stick that out here on a stick to entice you to come in and then take it away from you.
That's exactly right. And there's so much of that going on this day and time, Coleman, and people that are actually, there are people that are attaching strings to you even buying a vehicle. Sometimes you either have to, you do have to, on new vehicles I'm talking about, you have to finance or they won't sell you the vehicle. They put addendums on vehicles, which is just, they price them over what the manufacturer's suggested retail price is because of shortages of vehicles. And just a lot of things going on right now that we don't do. We're very fair, transparent in what we do. And it's just a fair, honest way to buy a vehicle.
You still got a few new ones?
Coleman, we've got about 40 right now, which is better than we've had at times in the past, and you know, I don't see that getting a whole lot better in the near future. I think we'll probably stay somewhere in that 30 to 40 range. But we do have, you know, we've got almost 200 pre-owned vehicles, Coleman. We've a lot of them less than a year old and less than 10,000 miles. So it's an almost new vehicle.
Well, and usually they're a little bit less expensive too.
That's right.
So it might fit your budget a little bit.
That's exactly right.
Well, anyway, get on the internet, RockyWilliams.com. Figure out what you need there, and if it's really, you just find one you want or need, and can you afford it, and you can do that right there on the internet.
You can do that right there. That's exactly right. And then it's just a matter of coming in, making sure that it looks like what you thought it was going to look like, and that it It drives like you thought it was going to drive, and it does actually kind of fit the needs that you've got.
Well, we hope you're going to have a great week and a great month here. We're just really getting started in June.
Yep, we are.
And so I know you're looking forward to a great
It's
month.
going to be a great June, Coleman.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you next Monday and do it all over again.
I'll be here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Billy Mullinax, he's General Manager for Rocky Williams, Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Mount Juliet, 600 Pleasant Grove Road. No haggle pricing. Everybody pays the same great low price. We're about 21 minutes before the hour, and this morning I want to introduce a gentleman I've just had the pleasure of meeting as he came in the door this morning, Dr. Darrell Crouch. He is founder and executive director for Everyone's Wilson. And Dr. Crouch, good morning to you.
Coleman, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we want to find out a whole lot from you this morning. And I'll be honest with you, somebody handed me this card here recently. I don't know who it was. I thought it was Susie, our station manager, and an owner, and she said, no, it wasn't me. Whoever did said I ought to have you on. I had a vacancy, and you answered the call, and we're glad to have you here. You live here?
Yeah, I'm in Mount Juliet. I have been in Wilson County for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So I pastored churches for 28 years and pastored most recently Green Hill Church in Mount Juliet for 9 years until a year ago when we launched out full-time with this nonprofit called Everyone's Wilson. And we, a bunch of pastors and churches over the last few years have been doing some things together, and that evolved into something bigger than we really knew at the time. And so we felt like it needed full-time leadership. So we stepped out, and kind of a new direction for me personally, but something that we had been very involved in for really since probably 2015, Coleman, that some churches and pastors have been getting together and talking around racial reconciliation, but then it went into some other things about how can we really serve our community well.
Okay, I want to hold you right there and go back, and I want to ask you a little bit about before. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm from Tullahoma, Tennessee.
Tullahoma.
Yeah,
Coffee County.
Coffee County. So grew up there, graduated in 1989. That was a long time ago now. Went to college at UT Chattanooga, and then went off to Texas to go to seminary. And so we lived for a decade.
At what point did you went to Chattanooga? Did you have a change of heart then, and then decide to go to seminary? Or?
Yeah, so about halfway through college, determined, it just, there was a lot of things the Lord was doing in my life, and bringing a lot of different experiences into my life. And I remember one night, he and I had a pretty serious conversation. And so I trusted him and said, hey, I'll launch out and go into full-time ministry. So I went ahead and finished my degree at UT Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
A business degree doesn't hurt you. And so I needed a bachelor degree anyway to go to seminary. So that's what we did.
You have family?
Yeah, so I'm married. We've been married 29 years, have 4 kids. 3 of them are grown, out of college, doing life, and one's still 15. She'll be 16 next month.
And you live in Mount Juliet?
We do. Yeah, we love it.
All right. Are there a number of people that you are involved with in Everyone's Wilson?
So there's about 50 churches that are involved in our coalition in one way or another. We have pastors and churches who are engaged with us, and at different levels. And really every church, and this is important, every church in Wilson County is preaching the gospel and loving their neighbors and helping folks do that. They're a part of community transformation work. But we started asking some questions a few years ago, not just how my church is doing, but how's my county doing? How's my community doing? So what's ironic is a church can grow and do pretty well at the same time the community goes downhill. So you can grow by 100 or 200 over a couple of years or over 5 years, and everybody feels pretty good about that at church. But there's more hungry people, and there's more folks struggling with addiction and mental health issues, and things aren't as good in the community as they are maybe in your church. And so we just started asking different questions about what the scorecard is for success. And so that's when we started to step into this idea of community transformation work and to say, what can we do together to move the needle in the major pockets of vulnerability in Wilson County?
How has the reception been from those who are not part of your group? Or, I mean, you sort of have an idea to sell here. Yeah. How's your selling going?
It's really been remarkable, Coleman. I mean, I'm here with you today. I mean, that should be a testimony, right? So we've seen the favor of the Lord. Businesses are coming on board with us and recruiting volunteers to serve with us. We all understand that we're in a critical time. I know you've had some conversations this morning about mass shootings and talked to the sheriff, and we're building bigger jails, and obviously population growth, we need bigger jails. But we all understand that we're at a critical time, and division does not get it done. Division does not move the needle in the right direction. If we're going to do this, if we're going to be the community that we all dream of being, then we're going to have to work together. And we're going to have to say, we may not believe all the same things exactly, but we all care about the same things. No kid should go hungry tonight in the second wealthiest county in Tennessee. Not one, but yet 25% of our public school students are on free and reduced lunch and live in a poverty space. They're not looking forward to summer break like you and I did growing up, maybe. They don't have enough food during the summer. They don't get enough attention, enough care, and sometimes they're not very safe. And so there's a lot of pockets of vulnerability in Wilson County. As great of a community that we are, we have a long way to go. And so we know that if we're going to be the kind of community that we want to be, we've got to get upstream. We can either build bigger jails from now on, or we can start mentoring kids and getting engaged in people's lives in a way that really does make a difference.
Okay, I think you've stated your mission quite well here. It's time for us to take a break. Dr. Darrell Crouch is my guest, and we'll talk more in a moment. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford, and they've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning, T-Dot. Just moved a stalled pickup truck in a terrible spot a few minutes ago. It's moving better through there on 40 westbound just before Fessler's. All that traffic coming in past the airport there through Hermitage Donaldson on 40 West. Again, it's looking better just before Fessler's. Traffic on 65 has picked up again up through Brentwood, Franklin. Steady flow of traffic continues to come in from Dixon County. That's still looking pretty good on I-40. Just some radar out there around 840. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Check them out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Do you know why Rocky Williams Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Mount Juliet sells so many cars, trucks, SUVs, and muscle cars? Well, it all starts with a simple idea. Why not give everyone a hassle-free shopping experience for their new or used vehicle with no haggling, no negotiating, and no runaround? Every vehicle on the Rocky Williams lot is marked down incredibly low with the price posted on the window. You're treated with fairness and respect every time. No pressure, just a friendly, warm, inviting staff dedicated to finding the exact vehicle you need. So Rocky Williams Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram has become the original no-haggle, one-price dealer. Go online to RockyWilliams.com to see the incredible deals yourself. Every car and truck is listed with a no-haggle low price. This is for real, and you're gonna love it. People drive for miles to get some of the lowest prices in America on their new or used cars or trucks. Go to RockyWilliams.com or come on over to our brand new spacious dealership next to Walmart in Mount Juliet.
And we continue. It is a Monday morning. We welcome you if you're just joining us. And Dr. Darrell Crouch is with us today. He is founder and executive director for Everyone's Wilson. And we could mention you have a website, everyoneswilson.org, and no apostrophes or anything, just everyoneswilson.org. And what all will you find there? You've got, I'm sure, a mission statement maybe, and a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, so you can connect with us there. You can submit a form to get more information from us. If you're a marketplace leader, if you're a church leader, if you're a nonprofit leader, we'd love to connect with you there. You can see some of the initiatives that we have. We have a Serve Day coming up for the county on July 16th, so there's information about that and how to connect with that. Just a half day on a Saturday to to serve in some practical ways around our community. But really, you'll see our main effort where we saw the best opportunity to impact these pockets of vulnerability is in our public schools. And so our school partnership initiative, when people say, well, Daryl, you've got a great idea, and we love unity, and we know the church needs to get together on some stuff, and we know that we need to work better together as a community of neighbors. But what do you do? And so the answer to that question is, at the strategic level, we do school partnerships. We bring churches, businesses, and nonprofits around every school in Wilson County to be the largest supplier of human resources in our schools outside of their employees. And so we want to see every student, every educator, and their families thrive. And every pocket of vulnerability intersects in the public school: safety, hunger, addiction, obviously educational needs. And so we believe that if we can mobilize an army of hundreds of volunteers every week into our public schools to serve teachers, to help them be successful, to help students read at grade level, social emotional needs, some of the things that, again, we see in our communities around the country are born out of isolation. Kids are isolated, families are isolated. We don't know our neighbors very well. We don't know the family members of our the students our kids go to school with, their peers. We don't know our kids' friends, parents, and families. And so when difficult issues come up, Coleman, we don't really know how to engage with those because we don't have a relationship with those folks. Mm-hmm. And so we're starting to talk about hard things, difficult things that involve our kids, and things that are important to us, but we have no relationship with them. And so we want to create opportunities for as many volunteers to serve kids, serve students, our educators, and their families as we possibly can, so that these young kids and their young families, that they have an opportunity to live the life they were created to live. And we believe that happens through relationships.
How long has this been going on?
We've been at this since 2018. The school partnership effort began just a little under a year ago. Okay. We're in 14 schools. We should be in 22 schools by the end of the summer. We hope to be in all 33 schools by the end of 2024.
All right. Is this an organization that you join, like maybe you would a civic club or something, or do you just show up at a certain time? How does it work? How are you organized in that way?
Yeah, so if you want to partner with us, you'd fill out a form on our website, and we'd reach out to you, and we'd create a one-page partnership agreement, and you would decide what you want to do with us. The most, obviously, the low-hanging fruit, like we say, is the school partnership. Mm-hmm. And so some businesses and churches and nonprofits can participate. All of them can participate, but some will participate at different levels. So some can provide volunteers during the day with kids and tutoring and mentoring programs, and classroom aides, and even be a substitute teacher or a cafeteria worker, and get paid for it. We just are trying to help the schools be successful, and there's a lot of avenues for them to do that. And so,
I'll have to agree with that, because both directors of schools have been here at different times, and we're needing employees, substitute teachers, bus drivers, different things. So I know you're right there.
They need all the help that we can give. And so some people can give an hour a week and to just be a cafeteria monitor. Some can work in the cafeteria every day and be an employee of the district. Some can mentor kids and be a lunch buddy for a kid. It's all driven at the school level for us. So we don't come in and tell the schools what we're going to do for you. We create a round table with the principal and the principal's staff liaison, and a couple churches, a business partner, a nonprofit partner like FCA, for example. And we sit around the table and we ask the principal, Miss Principal, how can we help you be successful this year? And then we create a game plan specifically for that school that will provide volunteers, financial resources if they need them, but it's mainly driven by volunteerism and personal relationship.
And And you said you're already in 22 schools?
We hope to be in 20.
Oh,
We're in
oh.
14. We hope
Oh.
to be in 22. We're at 21 right now.
Oh.
We hope to be in 22 schools by the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we start the fall.
Well, isn't that doing remarkably well to have only been head in that direction for a year?
It's remarkable, Coleman, and we see it as God's favor and the favor of this community. Our school directors have been incredibly supportive and encouraging. Every principal that we've met with, which we've met with a lot of them over the last year, have welcomed us with open arms. The value that we provide are really two things that you can't just do on your own, or a church can't do on its own. One is that we allow and create a pathway for personal relationship with kids and faculty. There's background checks. There's training that's important. There's some legitimate barriers to just anybody walking into a school and saying, I want to hang out with kids. There's obvious concerns about that. And so we provide a pathway that does that in a credible way and provides a reliable volunteer. The second thing that we do that I think is pretty exciting is the multiplied impact of all the people around that table I mentioned. 1 + 1 = more than 2. The multiplied impact of a couple churches, a couple businesses, a nonprofit working together, not in silos, making random phone calls to a principal this week to how can we help y'all right now. The principal doesn't know how to answer that question. The business or the church doesn't know what they're doing a lot of times, or if what they're doing is really helpful. We say this a lot, our police officers, we love first responders, but police officers probably don't need another dozen donuts today. Now, we may take some by there and they may say thank you, but that may not be what they need. Well, sometimes we try to help in a way that's really not very helpful. So the multiplied impact of that round table can say to the principal, what do you really need? And then we'll create a game plan over the next 180 days to fill those needs. And some of them will be human resources with volunteers in the schools. Some of them will be project-based, mulch around the playground and paint the playground equipment during the summer. Some will be other things, but it's all driven by the needs of that local principal to help her or him be successful this year.
Well, are you where you thought you'd be as far as the volunteer aspect, people coming forward to help in this endeavor?
So we're pretty excited about where we are. We're just starting, so the training I mentioned to you takes a minute. So we've trained about 225 volunteers so far. Not all of them have started to serve yet. Obviously, there's a school cycle that has to be managed, and so we expect this fall to mobilize most of those 225. We hope we have a training planned on June 28th. At the Fellowship at Mount Juliet, which is a church just near the train station, and in Mount Juliet on June 28th. And so we expect to be training more volunteers. So we expect over the next 2 to 3 years to have 750 trained volunteers working in our schools. And so we're just getting started. It takes a minute to get them all trained and teed up, but this fall should be pretty cool.
Quite an ambitious goal.
It is.
But I would think one of the things you've got to do is to be able to stay together and keep your mission in front of everybody so that people don't start and then they get cold feet and back off.
That's right. It's hard. So relationships, we're not doing it now because it's hard. We've got kids in isolation on the internet all the time or on social media all the time because it's easier to give them a phone than it is to give them attention. So one of our principals looked at me in the face. She said, Daryl, we have, I forget the number now, 436 students in this school, and every one of them needs somebody to put down their phone, look them in the face, say, I see you, I care about you, how can I serve you? Our school district is begging for, not begging, they're not begging, but they are more than willing to have volunteers who will come in and give kids personal attention. Mm-hmm. It's hard to do, however. It's easier to give them a phone or a device and say, go figure it out. But they're struggling. Kids are struggling. We're not that far from the Texas shooting that we saw earlier. It is possible that that could happen in our community. We should not be Pollyanna about that or naive. We have principals, middle school principals, calling an ambulance almost every day because of suicidal and homicidal ideations in their students. So we have social emotional issues, mental health issues in our schools today that if we can either ignore those and wag our finger at our politicians and hope that somebody else helps us with that, or we can get involved in people's lives in a way that would make a difference. And so, yes, attrition is a factor, but we're doing this because it's hard. And we want to encourage people to get involved in the lives of their neighbors and their students, and that's where we believe makes a difference.
We got a minute and a half. It's flown by here, but summarize. Tell us. Use a minute and a half here to the best here as we close out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, said a long time ago. He wrote a book entitled "It's Better to Mentor Kids Than to Mend Men." It's important, Coleman, that we go upstream as far as we can. We have some wonderful nonprofits in our community that we partner with, relief organizations like food pantries and all the rest. We have recovery organizations like addiction recovery. We partner with all those. Drug-Free Wilco is amazing. You ought to get Tammy in here every time you can. But we want to go upstream as far as we can. We want to be mentoring and investing in young kids and their young families as far upstream as possible so that 5 years from now, a decade from now, we can see a different kind of Wilson County. People are coming, and we want to be involved.
All right. People want to get involved. Quickly, what's the best way?
The best way is go to the website, everyoneswilson.org, and you'll see places that they can fill out forms, they can give, they can sign up for Serve Day and get involved in all those things.
And you do need money as well as time.
We are, everybody needs money.
Yeah.
It takes money for me to be here. It takes money for you to be here. So we would welcome folks who would want to partner with us.
Well, thanks for being with us this morning. Appreciate your visit.
It's an honor.
Dr. Darrell Crouch, founder and executive director for Everyone's Wilson. And that's it for a Monday. Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.